On a world where steel sang and plasma burned, every student was given the same task: forge a blade that defines your soul. Most brought metal, some shaped crystal. But the human girl? She walked into the workshop carrying a single bone, still scarred with teeth marks. Her classmates laughed until the bone began to hum. No one knew it came from a predator that hunted her world, a creature even the human military feared. And when she started sharpening it, the forge itself fell silent. If that opening made your pulse quicken, you're in the right place. Hit like if you love stories where humanity refuses to bow. Subscribe for more HFY tales of courage, madness, and survival from the edge of the galaxy. And hey, drop a comment. What would your blade be forged from? Metal, crystal, or bone? The forge hall was alive with heat and pride. Hundreds of young aliens stood before roaring furnaces, sparks glinting off their scales, carapaces, and crystalline skin. It was forging day, the rite that would define who they were. Instructors barked orders, molten metal hissed. Every student had come prepared with exotic ores, star steel fragments, or volcanic crystal. And then there was her, Aren, the only human in the class, small, quiet, eyes like storm clouds. She carried no ore, no alloy, not even a blueprint. Just a long, bleached piece of bone, still jagged on one end. Laughter echoed across the forge. "Primitive," someone sneered. "Did she raid a graveyard?" "Maybe she thinks she's still on her Deathworld," another whispered, half afraid, half amused. But Aren said nothing. She laid the bone on her workstation and traced her fingers across its surface, each ridge, each scar. That bone wasn't just a relic. It was a memory. The instructor frowned. "Human, explain your material." Aren met his gaze. "It survived where nothing else did. So will I." And as she placed the bone into the forge's light, the flames flickered, as if recognizing a predator's remains. The moment the bone met the forge's heat, something strange happened. The temperature dropped. The alien metals hissed and warped, their plasma torches sputtered, but Aren's bone stayed untouched, gleaming faintly, as if drinking in the light instead of burning beneath it. Students whispered, "That's not possible." "Bones don't glow like that." But the glow deepened, pulsing softly, rhythmically, like a heartbeat. Aren's hands didn't shake. She knew this rhythm. She'd heard it once before, echoing through the jungles of her Deathworld as something massive stalked her camp at night. This was no ordinary creature's bone. It was from the apex of her planet's food chain, a predator so ancient that even Earth scientists refused to name it. Her instructor leaned in, sensors scanning. "Energy readings inconsistent. Biological resonance detected." The bone trembled. Sparks danced up its length. Aren whispered under her breath, "You remember, don't you?" The forge lights dimmed. Every student froze, and from somewhere deep inside, the bone came a low, almost imperceptible growl, not mechanical, not echoing, but alive. The forge wasn't just shaping a weapon. It was waking something that had slept for centuries. The temperature spiked. The air shimmered with energy. Flames bent inward, drawn to the bone as if gravity itself had shifted. The forge began to scream, a metallic shriek that made even the hardened alien students step back. Aren didn't move. She gripped the tongs tighter, sweat glistening on her skin. The fire lashed against her, wild and furious. But she had felt worse. She had survived acid storms, air so toxic it peeled metal. This was nothing new. "Shut it down!" the instructor shouted. "The forge is overloading!" But Aren didn't stop. She pressed the bone deeper into the heat. The metal floor quaked, and a halo of crimson energy burst from the crucible. The air smelled of ozone and blood. The bone began to hum again, louder now, its rhythm syncing with Aren's pulse. The alien monitors cracked. Power surged through the chamber. Then, with a thunderous boom, every other forge in the hall died. Only hers remained lit, a pillar of white fire surrounding the human girl who refused to yield. And as the flames finally calmed, the instructor whispered, voice trembling, "Did the forge just obey her?" When the fire died, silence ruled the hall. Smoke curled around Aaron's forge, glowing faintly in shades of red and silver. Slowly, reverently, she lifted the blade from the coals. It wasn't metal. It wasn't bone anymore either. The weapon pulsed with veins of light that moved just beneath the surface, like living tissue under translucent skin. Every exhale from Aaron made it shimmer, as if it breathed with her. "Scan it," the instructor ordered, voice shaking. The scanner flickered, failed, and displayed 3 impossible words: unknown organic material. The alien students recoiled. One whispered, "It's alive." Another said, "It's listening to her." Aaron turned the blade, watching the glow dance across its edge. For a moment, she thought she saw movement, a ripple like muscle flexing beneath flesh. Then the sound returned, a deep, resonant hum that filled the chamber with pressure. Every creature in the room felt it, instinctual fear. It was the feeling of being hunted. Aaron smiled faintly. "You remember the hunt?" she murmured to the blade. "So do I." And for the first time since the forge was built, it knelt, bowing its heat toward her. When the smoke cleared, the instructors stood frozen, unsure whether to fear the girl or worship her. The bone blade rested across Aaron's palms, humming softly like a heartbeat that refused to die. No one spoke. No one died. Finally, the elder forge master stepped forward. "Human, what have you created?" Aaron looked down at her weapon, then at the crowd of trembling students. "It's not what I made," she said quietly. "It's what we become when the world tries to break us." The forge sensors still failed to read the blade. It had no weight, no temperature, no composition they could record. But one thing was certain. The bone still lived. It had adapted, just like every creature from her Deathworld, just like humanity itself. The master whispered, "You didn't forge a blade. You forged will." Aaron smiled, eyes glinting like embers. "No, I just reminded it, and you, what survival sounds like." The hum of her blade deepened, echoing across the forge hall like a heartbeat that belonged to something far greater than steel. And in that silence, every alien realized the same truth. Humans don't just survive. They evolve the impossible. If this story lit that spark of HFY pride in you, you know what to do. Humanity isn't just another species in the stars. We're the ones who turn fear into fuel, chaos into creation, and pain into purpose. Aaron's story isn't about weapons. It's about what we forged inside ourselves long before we reached the stars. The Deathworld didn't make her strong. It simply revealed what was already there, the unbreakable human instinct to adapt, outlast, and overcome. So next time someone says humanity's fragile, remember the girl who sharpened a piece of bone until the forge bowed to her will. That's the story of us.